Today we're going to read Chapter 5 from Final Gifts by Maggie Callanan. My name is Natalie. I'm the Good Shepherd here on our small hobby farm, and I really enjoy reading books, and there's no greater way for me, myself, and I, as the Good Shepherd, to hold myself accountable to do what I want to do than to do it in such ways. For me, videoing myself, I hold myself accountable, and so therefore I set out to read one chapter a day, and here I am now going on, I think, probably 3 or 4 months of reading a chapter a day. I'm now into, this is like the 6th audiobook that I save to all of my social media under the playlist of the title of the book, chapter by chapter. So I haven't let my flock out yet this morning. These chapters are rather bizarre as far as length goes. It's not really like chapters. It's more so all shared stories of persons who have had, well, they died. And so this is the hospice nurses sharing their experiences working with such persons and their families and others during such times. All right, Andy, let's not put us all asleep right now, right? Getting into Chapter 5, the following 5 chapters describe the experiences of dying people as they approach death. They may tell us they know they're dying, often by making reference to travel or change. Some tell of talking with or sensing the presence of people whom we cannot see, but who are with them as they move along their journeys. Some refer to peace and beauty of another place invisible to those around them. Still, others know, and even tell us, when they will die. When dying people begin to have these experiences, they often seem preoccupied, distracted, perhaps even a little puzzled. They may ask questions, seem glassy-eyed, or appear to be looking through us, as if focused on something beyond. To draw another parallel with birthing, they look the way women in labor look, busy, working hard, and concentrating on what's happening to them. Dying people are not bothered by these experiences, but find them generally pleasant, reassuring, even comforting. However, family members and friends may be upset by the patient's attempts to describe the experiences, or fearful, believing the patient to be hallucinating, confused, or demented. Those who understand these descriptions for what they are, information about what it is like to be dying, can learn from the dying person and share in the peace and comfort the dying derive from these experiences. Chapter 5, Where's the Map? Ellen looked like a typical 17-year-old cheerleader, a blue-eyed blonde, pretty, bright, and full of personality. She'd excelled at all she'd done. A good student, she looked forward to attending college with her friends in the fall. But in September of her senior year, she developed a sharp pain in her right thigh. At first, she assumed she'd strained a muscle leading cheers for the football team. But the pain persisted and increased, and her leg became weak, so she saw a doctor. To her family's horror, x-rays showed cancer that had spread from somewhere else in her body to the bone of her leg. Despite extensive testing, the original site of Ellen's cancer was never determined. The cancer already had spread to other bones, her ribs, left hip, and shoulder, eliminating amputation as an option. Radiation therapy was started immediately. Ellen and her family reacted to this terrible news with silent numbness, but pulled closer to each other for support. She chose to view her cancer as a challenge rather than a catastrophe. Ellen's determination sparked the same reaction in her family and friends. Everyone pitched in to help her continue in school while taking her treatments. Many times Ellen's brothers, teachers, and friends carried her books or pushed her wheelchair through the school corridors. A tutor worked with her at home when she was too weak to attend school. Somehow she maintained her grades and graduated with her class to a standing ovation. As her friends left for college that fall, she tearfully told them, "I'll see you next semester when I'm finished with my treatments." "We're a close Christian family," her mother said. "When one of us has a problem, we all share it. We fight our battles together." And fight they did. "My princess is a fighter. Cancer won't stop her," her father said. But cancer did stop her. The response to various treatments was poor, and her disease spread at an alarming rate. Ellen's dreams of college and growing up began to fade. Her interest in the larger world diminished. Friends' visits no longer held her attention. She only wanted to be comfortable at home with her family. Since nothing was helping, Ellen decided to stop the treatments. Her good times were getting shorter and less frequent. As she got weaker and less able to care for herself, the doctor urged the family to call hospice for help and direction with the last stages of her illness. The family resisted. "We don't need outsiders," the mother said. "We can manage by ourselves." The doctor persisted. "Ellen's getting too weak to come to my office," he explained. "I don't make house calls, and I want her to be monitored by professionals, so I can be sure she's as comfortable as possible." "We trust her judgment, so we'll think about it," Ellen's father said. "We're afraid she'll think everybody's given up on her if she hears the word hospice." It was nearly a month before Ellen's parents called us. By then, she had deteriorated dramatically. She was now confined to bed and experiencing increasing pain. When I drove into their driveway for my first visit, Ellen's father was standing resolutely in the yard, waiting for me. "You're not going to talk to her about dying, are you?" he asked. "We have to be strong for her." I assured him that I was interested in getting to know Ellen and her family and would only talk about things that she wanted to discuss. But, I said, I would question her a lot about her comfort. I particularly wanted Ellen to be at ease with me. It's common initially for the family to greet the hospice nurse with a warning. "Don't say anything to her about dying. She doesn't know and she couldn't handle it." Moments later, the patient tells the nurse privately, "Don't say anything to my family about my dying. They don't know and they couldn't handle it." With support and encouragement, both patient and family can end this compassionate conspiracy and move on to honest, open communication. "She refuses to take any of her pain medicine," Ellen's father said, leaning against my car. "She knows it's a narcotic and she doesn't want to become a drug addict." "I'll work with Ellen's needs in whatever manner she wants," I said. "It's important that she have the right information so she can do this her own way and as comfortably as possible." "Manfred." Her father seemed relieved. "We just can't believe this is happening to her," he said, fighting back tears. "We really don't mean to make your job difficult, but she's suffered so much already. We don't want you to say or do anything that will upset her." "I understand your concern," I said. "I think you'll all feel more comfortable when you know me a little better. How about if we just visit together for a little while today?" I asked. Still somewhat weary, Ellen's parents allowed me in to meet their daughter. Ellen's every bone was clearly defined by her severe weight loss, making her look like a fragile young colt. She was surrounded by big fluffy pillows. Her mother and I sat on either side of the bed while her dad stood guard, positioned himself behind the head of her bed where he could quickly signal me to stop if the conversation was broaching a taboo subject. Ellen seemed at ease and pleased to meet me. "It'd be great if you could give us some suggestions for making this easier on my folks," she said. "It's a lot of work for them." "You know what, Ellen," I said, "that's just exactly what your parents said about you. I hear you've worked pretty hard yourself. So how about if we all work together to make this easier for everyone?" I asked. "Manfred!" He's barking at the cows. My dog, he's an Australian cattle dog. Never, ever herded a cow, but he sees the cows. The discussion gradually came around to pain and her fear of addiction. "Would you take this medicine if you weren't sick and in pain?" I asked. "Would you use this medicine to escape from reality or because you liked feeling high?" "Of course not," Ellen replied indignantly. I explained that fear of addiction is common. Some people become addicted by misusing pain medicines and tranquilizers. However, addiction is the result of using medications for physical and physiological needs. I'm sorry, hold on. Back up. However, addiction is the result of using medications for physical and psychological needs. When medication is used properly for physical needs, addiction is usually not a problem. Physical tolerance can occur with a medication used over time, but is easily handled by increasing the dose to maintain comfort. I told her addiction must include psychological dependency as well. It can't exist without both components. So, used in the proper context, pain medication need not cause addiction. I explained that if Ellen took a smaller dose of her pain medication on a regular basis, even when she wasn't uncomfortable, she probably wouldn't have episodes of severe pain requiring the larger doses she'd been taking irregularly, nor would she be as sedated. "I'll try it that way for 2 days and we'll see, okay?" she asked. "Fine," I said. "We'll take it one step at a time. You're the boss." Afterward, Ellen's father walked me to my car. "Does my visiting 2 or 3 times a week sound agreeable to you?" I asked. "I do think there's more that can be done to help you. Obviously, Ellen's as concerned about you and your wife as you are about her." "Could we try it for a month and then decide?" he asked. It was clear that being in control was important to this family. "Absolutely," I said. "You can fire me anytime you want." For almost a month, the family did well caring for Ellen and shared a quiet and tender time, until one day I received a frantic phone call from Ellen's mother. "Get out here fast," she said. I could hear Ellen wailing in the background. "We're losing it." When I arrived, Ellen was thrashing around in bed, seeming anguished while her parents were trying in vain to soothe her. "Where's the map?" she cried. "I'm lost." That morning, Ellen's parents had moved her downstairs to the room next to theirs. Her voice was becoming weaker, and they feared they wouldn't hear her if she called for help during the night. Thinking the move had confused her, they ran up and down the stairs, bringing familiar items from her old room in an attempt to reorient her. The more they ran and the more they brought down, the more confused and upset Ellen became. She pushed them away, her anxiety and frustration increasing. "Where's the map?" she cried. "If I could find the map, I could go home. Where's the map? I wanted to go home." Her father had even rushed out and bought a map of her town and put it on the wall next to her bed, thinking that would help, but she only became more upset. When the additional pain medication I gave didn't help, I took Ellen's parents aside. "Could she be talking about another home?" I asked. "We have no other home," her mother said, "but we've already referred to heaven as our future home. Is that what she means? Do you think she's dying soon?" "Ellen doesn't look as if she's dying soon," I said. "But as sick as she is, it certainly is possible." Her parents decided she might be referring to heaven and trying to tell them through her confusion that she'd been dying soon. We went into Ellen's room. Her parents sat on either side of her bed, held her hands, and kissed her. "Ellen, it's all right," they said. "You will find the map, and you will find your way. We understand what's happening, and we are here with you." Ellen settled right down, became very peaceful, and drifted off to sleep. As her parents sat there stroking her hands, they too became peaceful. The crisis seemed resolved, so I quietly left. The next day being Saturday, I asked the on-call nurse to check in on them. I called to tell them I'd be in the neighborhood, the nurse reported later. Even though they said everything was okay, I said I'd like to just pop in for a quick visit sometime that afternoon. When I did, Ellen was rousable but very sleepy and looked quite comfortable, she continued. Her parents and brothers seemed fine. They were taking turns sitting with her and holding her hand. They had taken shifts through the night, so all of them could get some rest. I didn't see any problems. Ellen was sleeping, so they were all in the living room, talking to me when she died, without any warning at all. Quietly and peacefully. We were so surprised. But Ellen's mother said she worried so about this being too hard for all of us. Isn't it curious that she died when the nurse was here to be with us? They gathered around her bed and held her, murmuring their goodbyes. Crying, her mother said, "She's home now. She found the map." The dying often use the metaphor of travel to alert those around them that it is time for them to die. They also have a deep concern about the welfare of those they love, asking themselves, do they understand? Are they ready? Are they going to be all right? It seems dying people need permission to die. If given, that permission provides great relief. Its absence can make the dying process more difficult and lengthy. The dying intuitively know when, and often why, this permission is being withheld by the behavior of those around them. This withholding indicates that those they love do not understand their struggle, nor are they prepared emotionally to deal with the finality of their leaving. Look at the anguish of Ellen's parents, dashing up and down the stairs, bringing more items from Ellen's room, and look at Ellen's anxiety, wailing and thrashing around in bed, attempting unsuccessfully to communicate with her family. Compare these with the scene of Ellen resting peacefully, her family quietly holding her hands and being with her. You can see how Ellen's family provided what she needed by letting her know they understood the messages she was desperately trying to give them. I am dying. It is time for my journey from this life. I need to know you understand and are ready. I need your permission to go. If a family can understand and respond to a dying person as Ellen's family did, all involved can share the resulting comfort and peace. I love that last part here where she says that her family understood the messages she was desperately trying to give them. I relate very much so again to, they refer in this book to near-death awareness, that it's important for us when a loved one is nearing the end of life and dying. It's important for us, the ones who love, to be aware like this. There's no sense in arguing with somebody who's dying. There's no sense in arguing with somebody who, whether they're demented or about to die, either or, let them be. Dive in to that fairy tale adventure with them, or whatever type of adventure it is that they're having. It is true. We all die. Is that a good chapter, Andy? Did you like that?